Welcome to another episode of Truth from the Trail. Today I'm right here in my hometown of Hendersonville, North Carolina. We have an amazing greenway that it's a trail that connects Hendersonville eventually with Brevard, North Carolina, and be around 30 miles. But for now it's a shorter section, and I am at Laurel Park. So you're going to hear all kind of road noise and maybe some construction noise and whatever. But this is an amazing trail. I'll show you some pictures of the trailhead and some shots from the trail. It's a really busy trail, but it's great for walking, for jogging. You see people strolling their babies, walking their dogs. You got to pay attention and be careful. There are bikers. And, so sometimes it's a really busy trail, but it's a great trail. And if you're in this area, it's a great town to vacation in, especially in the spring and fall. So if you're here and in this area, I would encourage you to take a morning or an afternoon and come out to the Acosta Trail. It has the Acosta Market and Coffee Shop, and then Southern Stream Coffee Shop, and at the northern end, I guess it's really the western end, you've got Cognitive Coffee. So places to eat, places to drink, and a great, safe trail to walk on. That's the trail I'm enjoying today. While I'm here, I want to share with you a story from the Bible. I believe it's a true story that happened in the life of Jesus, and I want to share that with you today. And after this very familiar story, we'll dig into it just a little bit and see if we can find some life lessons. The story goes like this. There was a lawyer who came up to Jesus wanting to test him. And the lawyer said, Rabbi, what do I have to do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said, well, what does the law say? And the man said, well, the law says to love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said, well, good job. Yeah, that's right. That's what it says. And so the man wanted to justify himself. And he said, well, exactly who is my neighbor? And Jesus said, there was a man coming down from Jerusalem on a road, and he fell among thieves, robbers. They took him, they robbed him, they stripped him, they beat him, and left him there half dead. And they left. Along came a priest. And when the priest saw the man, he walked around him and kept on going. Not long after that, there came a Levite. And the Levite saw the man laying there half dead, and he went around him, kept on going. And then a Samaritan came by, and he saw him, and he had compassion for him. And he stopped, and he poured oil and wine on his wounds, and he wrapped his wounds, and he took the man and he put him on his donkey, and he went into town to an inn. And when he got to the inn, he told the innkeeper, here's some money, and I'm going to leave, and you take care of this man, and if you spend more than this, when I get back, and I'm coming back, I'll pay you the difference of what you've spent. And he left. And Jesus asked the man, now, which of these men was a real neighbor to the man in need? And the lawyer said, well, it was the one who had compassion and showed mercy. And Jesus said, yeah, you go and do likewise. That's the end of the story, and you know that story. We've all, if you've ever been to church or read much of the Bible, you know that as the Good Samaritan story. And as we dig into it a little and try to get some life lessons, to me they're pretty clear. And by the way, this is a very popular park. You may hear children's voices. Not too far to my right, there's a really nice playground, and so that's what you'll hear in the background. As I was saying, to me the life lessons are all on one theme, and that's how we treat each other. How can you be a neighbor to another person? And a few life lessons that I get out of this One is that being a neighbor sometimes gets you out of your comfort zone. It was probably a little bit uncomfortable. In fact, for this story, it might have even been a little dangerous for the man to stop. He didn't know if those robbers were still hiding behind a rock and waiting for him to stop so they could get him. It took him out of his comfort zone. For us to be a neighbor, for me to be a neighbor and be a friend, sometimes it takes me out of my comfort zone and makes me do things that aren't real comfortable to me. Another life lesson I get out of this is sometimes to be a neighbor, to be a friend, I have to get my hands dirty. The man had to get involved. In today's culture, we like to mind our own business and stay out of other people's affairs and be detached. And sometimes you have to get your hands dirty and actually get involved with people to help them and have compassion for them. Another thing is, it took an effort, didn't it? The Bible doesn't say that Jesus didn't elaborate in the story on how the man, the Samaritan, picked the guy up and threw him over his donkey or whatever it was he was riding. But it took some effort. And then to ride him into town, probably the man had to walk along beside his animal, and the man was riding, the wounded man was riding on it. It took some effort. Being a friend, being a neighbor, sometimes takes work, takes sweat. And if we're not willing to get out of our comfort zone, put ourselves in an awkward position of getting dirty and working at it, it's not likely we'll be a very good friend or neighbor. The last thing I get in here is that sometimes it costs you. This guy paid money and then said, look, if it costs more, I'll pay that. He had to put some money on the line and be willing to invest in this guy's life. So it costs us. It costs time. It costs energy. It costs reputation. It costs money. And for me to be a good friend and be a good neighbor, I've got to be willing to give, to do that. I said the last thing, but one more thing. The priest didn't do it, the Levite didn't do it. In that culture, a priest was pretty much at the top of the social order. A Levite was a special class of citizenship that was right there with the priest. A Samaritan was way down. The Jews thought very little, very, very lowly of Samaritans. And yet that was the man that offered the help and the compassion and was a real neighbor. Let's don't judge a book by its cover. Let's accept help and offer help to anyone who needs it. Well, hopefully I'll get on a trail and the weather will be a little better next week, and we'll enjoy one of these high views around this area next week. And I hope you'll join me on Truth from the Trail.